with now my new friend Cole. Quality, man. Thank you, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. And what I'm amazed at is all along I thought it was my sauce that Sophie and I had because we were so aligned, being successful, doing what we do, and now meeting you and your wife. It's like, man, we're not the only ones.
Right.
And you're the same as me, man. You bring your wife right into what you're doing, what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would like to do is, for at least for the ones that I know, because I hear it so much from me, of making sure your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever the deal is, make sure they're aligned with all your wants, needs, your visions, where you want to go in life. How's it been working for you?
Awesome. So I guess kind of like you, this is the way I've always done it, so I don't know it any other way. And I have close friends who on purpose kind of separate life and business. And maybe I'm a little envious that it would be nice to turn it off. Like to take my wife out on a date on a Friday night and not talk about business and just talk about life would be cool. Inevitably, that's impossible. She'll bring up a couple of things, or I will, about business. So there's that maybe like wanting to explore the unknown of what it would be like to literally have conversations that have nothing to do with business with her. But the upside of doing it together and doing life together. We were actually just talking about this in a company meeting the other day. From the outside looking in, people are like, I don't even think your husband has a job. Talking about me to her on social media, they're like, I don't think he has a job because like all we see him doing is having fun. And I was like, man, when people can't tell when I'm working versus having fun, like something's right. And I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I can't really tell when I'm working. Like, is this work right now? Are we working right now, or are we just hanging out, right? So because this is creating content that you're going to distribute through the internet, and it's so I guess you'd call this work, but doesn't feel like it.
That's right.
And so for me, the fact that I've been able to have businesses where I honestly can't really tell if I'm working or not, to do that with my wife is awesome. And then even with our little girls, they're only 3 and 7, so they're not like contributing to the business, but they'll sit right on my lap in a company meeting, and I'll just cuddle them as we go around the circle and do our, monthly meetings, etc. And so I get to work really hard. I get to do it with my family, so I don't have regrets on where I'm spending my time. You actually taught me back in, I think it was October, non-refundable minutes.
That's right.
And I want to spend my non-refundable minutes without regret. And of course, there's things in all of our businesses that suck, accounting and things that you've got to do, right? It's just part of the business. But by far the majority of my days, my business, and how I spend those non-refundable minutes are without regret. And they're doing what I'd want to do with who I'd want to do it with.
Incredible. A question I have for you, especially someone like yourself that's been around this social media entire industry, it's the first for me. How do you distinguish and how do you locate value versus maybe value or no value with all information that's going on? So say I'm a consumer, I'm some young individual, old individual, middle-aged individual out of Philadelphia, wherever. How do I determine on where I'm going to receive value from? How do I select the value with consuming so much income and on social media? So
with Thrive and curating various speakers to come and deliver their information, I've spent a lot of time on this. You know what I've found? Totally depends on the consumer. So like what someone who's brand new, getting started, who may have the fundamentals but lack the self-esteem or the self-confidence. They might need to hear a message from like an Ed Milet or an Eric Thomas, who are some of the best in the world motivational speakers. Someone like you who's just naturally motivated, you might appreciate what Eric and Ed are saying about being a self-motivator, but since you've always been driven, what you might need is someone like Russell Brunson just teaching you this whole world of internet ClickFunnels and how to drive traffic to a website that converts to either a transaction, whether it be money or whether it just be collecting an email, whatever it is. But for you, where that might be revolutionary information, the person that's lacking motivation, they could build funnels all day long. So what I've found is on where you should exercise your time or spend your time and what's going to be of value totally depends on the person. However, I will say something that's more of a blanket statement. Unfortunately, because it's easy to create content like this, there's 15-year-old kids with their iPhones saying that they're e-com experts and they're going to teach me how to run a billion-dollar company selling widgets and drop shipping and stuff. Credibility is important. So what information is valuable totally depends on the consumer, but who you should be listening to are people who are absolutely experts and are practicing what they're preaching. I don't want to learn marriage advice from the guy who's been divorced 5 times because he's done it the most. I want to learn from the guy like my parents who've been together 52 years, married 47. And so I think that that's important, is that what information is valuable depends on the consumer, but who you should be taking advice from are only people who, in the area of advice they're giving you, are living the life they want to live. For me personally, do you know who gives me the most financial advice?
Who's that?
People who have less money than me. I'm not trying to sound arrogant, like, look at my money, but the people that are always telling me what stock I should invest in or where I should go buy gold or go buy Bitcoin, like the people that are always telling me what to do with my money, almost always are the ones that have less money than me. No offense, but I'm not going to listen to someone's financial advice who's not better off than me financially. I'm going to listen to you. I haven't had $1 billion valuation, right? I haven't had an exit. And so I would listen to you in that information. Now, someone listening to this might just be trying to build a podcast. And when you create content around how to exit a company, it's meaningless to them because they're just trying to build a podcast, right? But for me, that might be really valuable information. So as a universal statement, only learn from people who are where you want to be, period. Not because they say so, but because they've actually done that. And then what information to listen to, just be clear on what your goals are. Be like, what I want to do this quarter is this. Next quarter is this year is this. And then find the people that speak to that.
So I love that. You know, I'm a big believer at the stage that you're at. Consume, dive into the information where you're at to maximize, hit the ceiling versus just diving yourself into information that has no relevance of where you're going to get at. For example, maybe I have content that can help one to work on exiting their business, how to force appreciation, how to pay attention to valuations, multiples, versus just looking at a Ferrari, thinking that Ferrari is going to show you how to sell your business. If you're making net income of $5 million, you should be diving into information. How do I maximize that $5 million to $10 million, and what is it worth to the market? And I find so many people that are falling victim to having so much income and information, but you got to select this information at the stage where you're at. What are you trying to accomplish? And dive into this information, but make sure the information is bona fide, backed up with results. There's so many people I'm finding out, you know, because I am green on social media, and I'm giving everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Can't do
but
that.
I'm seeing, you can't, man. I'm falling victim to that, man.
Well, because you've got a good heart, and I give people the rope to hang themselves with, as graphic as that sound. Like, if you tell me you've done something, I'm just going to take you for your word. Unfortunately, with social media, the fact that it is what it is, I think it's a great thing. It's such a controversial topic, right? People say it's like anti-social because you're not actually talking to people or whatever. But for me, I like social media. It's a huge part of the businesses that I run. But yeah, it's very easy for someone to act the part that they haven't yet really earned. It's even funny too, because there's so much of that. You know, I live in a beautiful part of the world. We've been blessed with a great house. As you know, I'm a car guy, so I have some cars. And sometimes my ad guys will be like, hey, Cole, just stand in front of your house and let that be the backdrop, right? Like you're talking about Thrive, for instance. Hey, buy your tickets to Thrive and just let your home be your backdrop. And there'll be comments that are like, oh, you idiot, you rented that house on Airbnb, and oh, all those cars are rentals, blah, blah. It's like, I've lived here for years. That would be the most expensive Airbnb in the world. And it's like, but as irritating as that is, it's because most people out there are renting houses and are renting cars for ads. So it's just, you can't really take someone at face value from who they are on social media. You've actually got to get offline and get to know them. If that makes sense. And then there's a lot of people that are underrated. Like, for instance, since you're green in this space, there are a lot of influencers out there, people that are giving business advice that the world is just hanging off their every word, who their best year ever was maybe 500 grand in revenue, which, hey, that's not bad. That's good. But then there's you who are just getting started, where someone might come across your channel and be like, I don't know this guy. I don't care what he has to say. But your business acumen and how you can help people is 10,000 times better than the person with the blue check mark who has millions of followers, who at the end of the day is just incredible on social media and they're interesting, but don't have 1/10 the business experience and acumen that you have. So social media can do the opposite, where I have found a lot of my personal mentors, the men and women who have invested a ton into me that has created massive results, are the ones that care the least about social media. And when I say, oh, have you heard of blah, blah, blah? They're like, no, and why would I care? Well, they're worth $8 billion and have started 30 different companies and are one of the most fantastic business minds on earth, but because they don't care about social media, you don't care about them. So it goes both ways, which is why I'm glad to see that you're coming out and have a team to really get your voice out there. because there are so few legitimate people who haven't just had your success, but the way that you care. I watch everything. People don't know. Like, you don't know. I just watched, as I was carrying in my kids, you went up and chased my wife down to be able to carry her purse in. Probably didn't think anyone saw that. I saw it, and I was like, damn, that's real. Like, that's a gentleman. I also noticed, because I was upstairs, when we arrived, you opened the gate at the bottom of my house and let your whole family, and I even told Sonny, I was like, oh, here's a guy that opens the door for his family. So I noticed those things that you don't even know. I was at the top of my stairs and saw you do that at the gate and saw you carry my wife. So what's cool is you didn't just exit a company at $1 billion valuation. You're actually a good human being. And so that's why you should really focus with your team here on getting out there, because what I have found is true is all cream rise to the top. And so on social media, there's a lot of flash in the pans. You see them, they're incredible, they get a big audience, and then they're gone tomorrow. You would be a guy that over time would just build a steady following of diehards. So I'm gonna help you however I can.
Wow, thank you, my brother. You know, in one word of advice, just humble advice, don't try to be somebody you're not.
Yeah.
Don't be under that pressure. And I can see why most fall victim to that. Always deliver value. Make sure you give more value. Don't expect nothing in return. And if you do get something in return, just make sure what you're giving is far more greater than something you're receiving. That's what I did without even knowing the magnitude of the compound dividend you get from that. And just give value, give good intentions. If you're on social media and you're giving value, make sure it's really value. Make sure it's not about a transaction. Make sure you're touching lives. And if you are that consumer that is all over social media, and I met a very nice young man at a boot camp I was at recently. He asked me some awesome questions. He was in the drapery business, drapery. Mm-hmm. And he was asking me about social media, and I really couldn't answer him. I said, listen, dude, I have no clue myself. I'm just learning it. But I do know this. Follow people that are in your industry, that are successful. You have no business following a DJ. You have no business following someone who's popping bottles. They have nothing to do with your success in the drapery business. They're not going to show you how to go to A to B, B to C.
Right.
And the great thing about social media and the internet, which I'm finding out for the very first time, it's powerful.
Yeah.
But it's scary too. It could be such a major distraction where you can stay stuck. And you have that evergreen scrolling. And I go to restaurants now, and I thought everyone was like me, looking at emails on a business-related topic. And now I go to the restroom on purpose just to see what people are looking at on their smartphone. And they're looking at Instagram, and they're just strolling in La La Land. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I don't know what type of user you could be on social media. You can get something from it, or you can just get nothing from it.
Right, totally, 100%. I mean, like anything in life, it's up to the user to use it in a positive way and then implement some stuff. Because someone could watch this and then go on in their life and do nothing different too, right? So,
well, like you have this Thrive situation, man. Thousands of people are all over it talking about major value getting, you know, from, I mean, the people you've already introduced me to. I'm like constantly, wow. These are real people making massive amounts of money, touching lives, incredible. And I'm wondering, I'm just being exposed to this for the first time. How many people are not aware of so much value that's out there, like Thrive, like some other? I mean, there's a lot of fluff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of real, you know, situations like Thrive. I mean, if I am broke, I'm living in Philadelphia. How do I get exposed to something like Thrive or be around people Thrive, but I don't have the money it takes to maybe get there to be part of it?
Right. So two things. How do you find things? Honestly, like we just got done saying, you can't really trust the internet. Every single person says that their event is the best event and that their content's the best content. So you really do have to rely on testimonials, word of mouth, referrals, right? Good old fashioned. So for someone like you who's trying to break in, I would say, hey, these events right here, total pitch fest, waste of your time. You're going to get no value. They just dangle carrots and sell you stuff. But these events over here, pure value, like our mutual friend Dan Fleischman, Elevator Nights, his are free. So for someone who's just trying to get in, Dan last year invested $500,000 of his own money in 2019 to produce these entrepreneurial meetups that I've spoken at 5 or 6 times, and I hope my content's good.
Wow.
And he doesn't charge people. He does that as purely a value add to the world and a huge network builder for himself because he gets these amazing speakers to come and speak. So there are other people like Dan out there that have nothing to sell you, and they're not even going to charge you a ticket at the door. At Thrive, I put over $500,000 into just that one event, right? And so we do sell tickets, but I mean, there's promo codes out there where you can get a ticket to Thrive for $197 if you buy super early bird or do one of our special promos. And like for me, no offense, regardless of anyone's financial situation, if they can't be diligent enough to save up $200, there's a deeper issue of self-doubt or whatever it is, because $200 you can do. And so I try to make mine affordable as well. But yeah, as far as like which events should you attend, unfortunately, if you just go to their website, they're all going to say they're the greatest thing there ever was. So it's really important to find other people who have invested in themselves, personal development type events, and ask around and say, what was your experience? And then to your point of not having the financial means, there's a lot of events out there that are affordable if you're willing to make some sacrifices. Don't drink Starbucks for 6 months. And all of those $3 to $5 coffees, 6 months later, there's your $200 that you need to come to Thrive or whatever. But if you're like, well, screw that, I wouldn't make that sacrifice, then you shouldn't even bother with business, not to be horrible. But it is important that some people understand who they are. Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about self-awareness. Being an entrepreneur is all about sacrifice. It's all about taking calculated risk, right? And if someone's risk adverse or not willing to make sacrifices, then you shouldn't put yourself in that position, because it's not going to feel good. It's gonna be miserable, right?
This guy's a good dude, man. I've been living in my little incubator, thinking just all about my situation, not getting distracted, and for the first time ever, now exposing myself out there, and coming, being allowed in your family, seeing how you are as a husband, a father. Met your parents today. This incredible home. Man, no wonder you're successful. No wonder I'm successful, because we carry the same core values outside our business. It's the same thing. So be who you are, man. Don't break that core value, and don't fall victim. And I'm so blessed to now be exposed to people like yourself.
Thanks, man.
Because it's like, man, this is what I've been doing. No wonder he's successful. And the sauce is the core value of how you behave. Do what you say what you do. It's not going to happen overnight. It is boring, it's long, it's frustrating, but I promise you, man, it's so much worth it. And very grateful for the relationship, man. Really am, man. You're a good person that is guiding me the right way, and because I am all about value, making sure I am not wasting my non-refundable minutes, and surrounding myself with this second life, man.
Yeah. I'm going to make a prediction on camera right now for the world. Because you keep talking about, and it's funny, I didn't really realize until today, like how laser focused, tunnel vision you were on your business, which makes sense at the $1 billion valuation. Like that takes laser focus, and how it almost seems like for the last 25 years you had no peripheral. You were just focused on the goal, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, there's this whole world out there of other people. And we talked twice today about how valuable relationship capital is. Oh, and there's one thing you said earlier too that I want to say. Relationships are like bank accounts, and you can't just make withdrawals. You'll be overdraft. You want to deposit more than you take. And so that's a great little analogy metaphor, is in relationships, deposit more than you withdraw. Otherwise, again, you'll be insolvent. So keep that in mind. But so the prediction is, with how well you did in your limited viewpoint of just focusing on your business, which I shouldn't say limited in like a negative way, it's just you were laser focused. With that relationship capital we were talking about, and then the conversations where I stumble across business opportunities like I did that we were just talking about at lunch, where it's like, wait, you doing what kind of returns? I think with your business acumen, your momentum that you're taking out of your exit, and who you are as a human being, now that you're expanding your network, I think your greatest work is yet to come. I'm going to make a prediction within this decade, if not sooner. I would say within 5 years, but you might want to take a little time to relax because you just got done grinding 25. But within this decade, I think that you'll be in a more profitable, it might not be a $1 billion valuation, but your exit and the value that you create with collaborative efforts of other people, you're about to do your best work that you're most proud of.
Thank you, dude.
I heard someone say that Bill Gates said at his funeral he doesn't want to be remembered for Microsoft. He wants to be remembered for ending malaria. Like he doesn't even want Microsoft brought up at his funeral. I think that your first exit is going to kind of be like the Microsoft, where no regrets, you're grateful for it, but like your best work is coming. I just feel it.
Thank you. And Bill Gates, talk about malaria, man. He's really attacking, and it's great. I don't know if you've seen the document on Netflix. There's 3 episodes about his life.
I haven't seen it.
Oh man, you got to see it. I'm bummed out. There's no more than 3. Yes, on how he carries himself, what he does, what he's doing for the world, and more so, how he leaves for, I think it's 1 week, without Melinda, his wife, without family, 1 week. and he goes away to his lake house, and all he does is dives into value content. He reads. And man, I'm just so grateful that we met. Really, I'm getting so much value from this.
Oh, dude, and I just
relationship,
remembered,
man.
my wife found you on social media. So
That's how we
it's a
connected.
good thing. Yeah, you're sitting here today because
Love
you've
it.
made a point to be more visible to the world.
Yeah.
So keep that up because I was trying to think, I thought Dan introduced us. And I was like, no, I don't think Dan introduced
No,
us.
your
And my
wife.
wife's like, no, I sent him a DM because she saw you speaking
Good
at a different
intentions,
event.
no motives, and
Yeah.
it's all about relationships, man. How you get there, relationships.
Totally.
It doesn't happen quick. It's an invitation. It's not overnight. You're not going to be a millionaire overnight. Don't buy into that. Stop
No.
chasing that.
Yeah.
It's wasted efforts. Spend your efforts on long-term efforts. So, man,
100%. Everything's an investment.
good dude here, man.
Thank
One of
you.
my
Appreciate it.
favorites so far.
Right on.